Hello, my name is Julie and welcome to this YSJ.NET tutorial. Here we are going to learn about the YSJ.NET demo browser. YSJ.NET demo browser contains an example of every control within YSJ.NET. You can check it out by Googling YSJ demo browser and clicking on the first link. So let's go ahead and use listbox as an example. So I'm going to go over here in the search thing and search for listbox. A list box presents a collection of items, either as plain text or bound data, and lets users choose a single entry or multiple selections. So you can see here, I can choose an entry, and whenever I choose one in this particular list box, we get a toast up here saying which one I selected. I can choose them over here. This one is HTML enabled, so you can see this one's bold, this one's italic, and so on. And this one has increased spacing. I can also enable read-only. And when read-only is enabled, I can't select any of these. Okay, so let's say you wanted to use a list box in your project and you wanted to look at the code of the demo browser to get a better idea of what exactly is going on here. So in order to do that, you can just click over here and this will pull up the demo browser code, specifically the list box code. Now you can just stay online and look at the files. So if I look at, for example, features.cs, we can see what's going on behind the scenes. So like this is the toast that was showing up, those red toasts that were showing up. This is the code that does it, right? So it's on the list box default cities, so that list box, and then selected index changed. We can also see the read-only checkbox, how that's set up. So basically, read-only gets set to this .checkbox read-only.checked, and then all of the read-only properties of the list box get set to read-only. So that's the code. We can also go ahead and look at the designer, right? So this is the designer.cs code, the code that's automatically generated whenever you drag things into the designer. So we can see, for example, this is all of the items being added to the list box. What else can we see? We can see a lot of properties being set up on the list box, like the name, the size, and so on. We can see for the HTML list box, the one that had the bolded text and things, it has allow HTML set to true. So you need to set that to true if you want to use HTML in a list box. And then the final list box, we can see the item set up. We can see item height is set to 45, so that's why it has the increased spacing. Okay, so let's say that this wasn't enough. You didn't want to just look at the code. You wanted to actually play around with the code, like download it onto your computer. How can you do that? Well, we can simply clone the repository. So let me go back, click on code, and this is the URL for the repository. So go ahead and copy that URL. You can use a program called GitHub Desktop. If you're not familiar with it, just Google it. And there we go. And you can see here you can download it. So after you've downloaded it and set it up, this is what it looks like. So let's go ahead and clone this repository. So I can go to File, Clone Repository, URL, and then paste in the demo browser URL. In my case, I've already cloned the repository, so the default location doesn't work, so we'll just call that the folder is YSJ Demo Browser 2, and click Clone. Alright, so that's cloned. You can go ahead and do fetch origin just to make sure you've got the most recent version. There we go. And then if I click on repository, show in Explorer, that will show my files. So here if I go to ysj.demobrowser.solution, that will open it in Visual Studio. Okay, so let's find the listbox code. Let's search for listbox. And you can see here it's in demos, editors, ysj.demobrowser.listbox. So if I double click on that, that is the CS project file. Let's see, let's just look at demos, editors. So demos, editors, listbox, there we go. I can click on this little arrow to expand it. And here we can see we have features.cs. So let's double click on that. So this is our code that we saw before. And this is the designer code that we saw before. So that's how to look at the demo browser code and open it on your computer. Okay, so let's go ahead and open this up in the designer. So right now you notice if you click on features.cs, it doesn't open the designer. And you notice too that the symbol is this C# symbol. Oh, it just changed. Okay, so I was going to say, if you see the C# symbol, you need to change that symbol. So the way to change it is you can just add a new line and hit save, and you can do Shift F7. Okay, but once that symbol is changed, you can double click on it and it'll open the designer. Now we're getting an error here because we haven't built the project yet. So you need to build the project before you can see it in the designer. So let's go ahead and right click, build solution. Okay, build succeeded, and let's try and reopen that in the designer. So double click here. Oh, perhaps if I close it out and then double click. There we go. So now it opens in the designer, and we can see our 3 list boxes and our read-only button. And as we click on these list boxes, we can see all of their properties here, and we can edit them. So that's how to open it in the designer.